Welcome to the Tactics Session Collective. There's just a couple things I want to talk about today. The first is positioning when we have the ball. These two wingers up here were red in this situation. These two wingers, forwards, or whatever you want to call them, you have a lot of freedom to go wherever you want to in this half when we have the ball. You really have a lot of freedom. You don't even have to stay on your side. The midfielder has hopefully now a more limited range. I would like you to try to stay not going into the goal so much, but more in this region right about here, from half to on top of the box. The reason being, if you crash in too much, then what we're likely to do is have a quick counterattack on us, and they've got the middle wide open right here. If we keep our shape a little bit better, at least until we learn where our positions are, then we can eventually rotate players in and we'll have more freedom offensively. But for now, try to keep your shape as much as you can. It'll help us with the counterattacks because this game is mostly about counterattacks, this indoor game. Our defenders, try not to get sucked in too far to the box. If you, of course, understand overlaps and so forth, but try to make sure that your first priority is to stop a quick break on defense. So you're always conscious of that, even when we have the ball. And to not lose the ball when we have possession, especially if you're the last man over here. We don't want to have you be dribbling right here and try to take on this guy when there's only one person right here and there's nobody else guarding your back. So move the ball around quickly and don't dwell on the ball if you've got it back here. So that's on offense. Just stay in your position roughly. Try to. With the forwards, you've got lots of freedom. Now let's say that we shoot the ball and it missed and it came into the corner. This happens all the time. Now, what I like to do here when the ball's in their half, okay, when we're on defense and the ball's on their half, they've got the ball and they're trying to break, is I like to have the forwards immediately just hunt down the ball and cut off lanes if possible. Try to work together to hunt down the ball and prevent them from passing out of anywhere. You two are like these chaos makers. You're back there just obstructing everything you possibly can. Now, the near side defender, I don't want you pulling back, and the backside defender, I don't want you pulling back either. I want you up as far as you can, and you and the other midfielder right here, you're going to be having a sort of zonal defense. In this case, since the ball's over here, your zone is right here. This is your zone. And for our midfielder, this is your zone right here. You guys can have slightly overlapping zones like this. The backside, we're not going to worry too much about the backside right now because we can always fall back if we need to. But to press the ball when they have the ball in their half, especially deep in their half, we're going to have a zone sort of set up like this with one of our defenders pressed up. Here's one of our defenders pressed up. And you guard any man that's in your zone. Same thing for this midfielder. You guard any man in this zone, and you're trying to cut off passing lanes. Now, the backside defender in this situation, when they've got the ball in their half, and we're trying to press them, the backside defender, you're dropping back, and you're here for a safety if there's another player who's trying to run, and there usually is. A player is trying to streak down the middle and try to get a pass. So you're guarding the last man. Okay, so the backside defender gets the last man, wherever they are. If they're right here, then you're on them right there. If they're right here, then you're on them right here. But you're watching this blue defender, or this blue player over here. You're watching them, making sure that if they get by, then you're taking them. This 2 right here is only stepping up into their half. You're not really all that concerned with players that go up behind you, okay? You can always look around you and make sure that there's not already a player back here. If they are like this and then they start going backwards like this, then you should go with your man that's in your zone right there. Hey, but for the most part, we'll be playing this kind of zonal defense where these two are trying to block off as much as they possibly can, and these two are hunting down the ball. Now, once they break this kind of trap, I guess, then let's say they get the ball out to here. They get past half. Then as soon as they get to half, we're switching to a man-to-man defense. Okay? We were zonal until they break half. When they break the half field line, then we're switching. We can have a sort of like we can say like a markup or something like that. I think markup is probably the best way of switching to man, but someone shouting, find your man or something like that, so we can all know that we need to find a player to mark. So once they break that half, then this is in the situation before. We've been talking about this, like what should we do when we're on defense? Well, we should go man to man because there's so many people that are running back and forth and there's so many bounces off the walls that it's difficult to keep track of the ball and the players that are around you. And so I just want to simplify this and have us mark a man and be responsible for that man. Now, if you get beaten by your man, then you got to try to recover as much as you can. So you can't really go in for hard tackles all the time and take risky tackles. You can go in for hard tackles, but risky tackles, you need to make sure that you kind of are able to recover from any risky tackle you make, and you can get in front of your man so they can't get a shot in on goal. Okay? So that's the big thing I want to emphasize here is that once they pass the half field line, we are switching to a man-to-man defense. Now, if you're back here and you're running back and they're like, if we're in this kind of situation right here, and they've just passed half, and we say mark up, then this player is going to get the ball, and this player doesn't have anybody to mark. They look around, there's nobody there. Well, you can still shade over and try to help your fellow defenders either through here or on the ball or wherever you like. You can help your defenders, but know that you're responsible for the player who's eventually going to come up here. Okay, they might stay back the entire time. If they stay back the entire time, we'll give them that safety. We're free to help double team or whatever we need to do on defense. But both of your forwards, these forwards here, we need to get back as much as we can. Really, especially in the last campaign, we were just having a couple players that were just staying up here, just camping out. We've got to get our legs ready for the outdoor campaign, and we've got to get our endurance up. So come back, play defense. That's part of your role as a player. You need to play defense. So come back and mark up. Okay? So I acknowledge that it might be difficult to switch from zonal to man-to-man marking as soon as they cross the half-field line, but we're going to be working on it, and it'll become a little bit more natural as we work on it over and over again. But make sure that you mark up and you run with your men wherever they are on the pitch. If they go over there, mark up. If they go over here, stay with them. Okay? And that's about it. I'm sure you guys are going to have questions about this, and there's going to be some mistakes that we make, but going to man is going to give us much more control over their movement when they've got the ball. We tend to sort of have a man-to-man anyway when we're playing early in the game, but then we kind of relax and just stay in a single spot later on in the game. But I want us to try to keep that intensity up for the entire game if we can. Okay, that's it from me. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.